So this awesome. So tonight we're going to be talking about last night's Clubhouse room that we ran, and then in addition to there's some other things that came up that I realized that I hadn't spoken about before in like some of the previous recordings. So I want to talk about some of that stuff. And I thought it went really well. The room lasted about two. I think we went about 2 hours or so. I know Missy, dropped off a little bit, I shouldn't say early because it was late for her, but early for me. But you guys stuck it to the end, and it was really awesome. I felt like it was a really good conversation. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm having my own perspective on it, but I'd like to hear about your thoughts about the room as far as the conversation and what either you were getting out of it or other people were getting out of it. So you can just go and unmute yourself and start speaking. Then I'll call on you. Missy.
I thought the room went really well. The only thing that I didn't know was like starting the room and kind of knowing what the expectation was. I think it would be helpful when you have multiple moderators that have never worked together to know like what format are we going to do, because I think we kind of adopted a format on the fly, or at least I didn't know going into it like how it was all going to go down. And so when it was thrown to me, I just did it all wrong because I didn't really know what the format was going to be. And it just sort of like, I felt like we got out of the gate kind of on a rocky start. And because I threw it to the one girl who just wouldn't stop talking. And then we got the room back in order. You know what I mean? It was like one of those situations where it's like, I thought it started off a little rough, but I thought that we recovered.
And that's one of the things I actually wrote down was the structure, like knowing what the structure, at least like whoever's going to run the rooms. My thought was first, again, I'm trying these things, right? And sometimes they don't work the way I have them in my head. And so, let's just go do a room.
Yeah.
And then I'll just have somebody else take over and I'll just kind of like take notes. But with that said, like I didn't set any, nobody knew who was going to be in charge or whatever. Yeah. And so, I was like throwing everybody to the wolves. So apologize for that. But you guys recovered really well, and you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong at all. And so it's just a matter of, knowing what the expectation is, right? And so I didn't set that expectation going into it. So that's one of the things I actually have written down is to set the expectation for the moderators. Sometimes you'll have situations where somebody makes you a moderator in the middle of an event, so you don't really know what the expectation is. You just kind of like go with the flow kind of thing. But if you're going into one, is to let everybody know like what are the expectations are, and who's going to start, who's going to go next. So I know like none of that was laid out. But I thought it was done really well, even though that wasn't laid out. So the people in the audience, they don't know what's going on. They don't know if we've talked to each other or not. All they care about is they want to get up and they want to share or ask their questions. So whatever it is. So from the audience perspective, I feel like it went really, really well. And that one girl, she was going on and on and on. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you stop a running freight train? Well, so how you can prevent a runaway freight train is to set that expectation to each speaker. So what I usually like to do is before each person speaks, tell them like what the lay of the land is. So when we do the networking event, every single person, I'll say, tell us who you are, what you're all about, and how we can connect with you. Like I'm like, boom, boom, boom. This is all we want to know. Then if they start to go off into a story, I'll let them for a little bit, but if they keep going, I'll say, hey, let me bring you back. And, this is what we're doing today. We're not sharing stories right now, kind of thing. But just like we don't tell them right up front, because most people will follow the instruction that they're given because I believe that most people want to be respectful in the rooms, and those who don't want to be respectful in the rooms usually won't be in the rooms that we're heading because they want to be in other types, we don't attract those kinds of people, for the most part. And I think sometimes it's just a matter of not really knowing what is expected of them also, right? So here's the thing is when we're running a room, and have you ever had a time where you were in a room and you saw that, okay, I'm like 4 people down the line, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go make a sandwich. And then maybe you don't take your phone with you, so you don't hear what's going on, or somebody starts talking to you, or you hop on a quick phone call, or like so many types of distractions because we're sitting here. Nobody can see us. We're on the phone, right? Nobody can see what we're doing or saying or anything. So they don't know what's going on in our life. But at the same time, we might not be hearing what's going on and knowing what the true conversation is about. So because of that, like this happened to me just earlier. I was in a room and I went ahead and went on the stage and I didn't even know what they were talking about because they switched the subject. And here, like the subject was one thing. And then by the time they came to me, I was like, I started talking and they said, oh, that's not what we're talking about. Like, okay, well, see, they didn't set the room for me. You know what I mean? Like they might have set the room 10, 15, 20 minutes ago, but I wasn't in the room then. So I didn't know what was going on. So this is why I like to kind of direct people each time. And this way, those who are in the room for a long period of time, they get to hear it every single time. And that's okay. They're not going to leave because you're telling everybody what to do, you know? So I think it's really important for us to do that. That's to guide them so that they can, you know, stay within the guidelines, especially if you want the room to not be like a free for all. If you want the room to be a free for all, then that's a completely different story. I myself, I like structure because I'm a rule follower. And because I'm a rule follower, when other people don't follow the rules, I'm like, dang it, I wish I wasn't a rule follower. You know, it happens to me quite often, by the way. And so that's one reason why I don't like to go first, because if I go first, I follow the rule. And then the third person down the line isn't following the rules. So they get like, they'll take advantage of that situation. And then I'm like, well, shoot, if I had gone after them, I would have followed them as the lead. You know what I mean? So this is why I like to set them up every time so they know what the guidelines are. Okay, so Sally, what did you raise your hand? Oh no, she went, yeah. But she said cheers. Did that answer your question, Missy? Probably not. I don't know if you had a question.
No, actually, I think it really did. I think no matter what, it's really important to talk to your moderators and lay the expectations out. And I'm not saying you did that incorrectly or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, well, that's a lesson learned for me. I like to know what's expected of me. And as a rule follower, I like to know, like, how are we going to do this? And, you know, some people introduce the people and kind of read a little snippet of their bios. Are we going to do that? Are we going to, like, say you introduced one, I introduce, you know, and like go in the line of the moderators and take turns introducing? Are we all going to like respond or flash your mic slowly if you want to respond? That kind, you know, it's like just knowing the rules is really, really helpful because it sets us up to have good chemistry as moderators.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which I think makes the room better for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. And also communicating in that back channel is
So
really,
helpful.
really helpful, right? Now, not
Yeah.
everybody's going to see it all the time. You know, like me, I have 2 separate phones, so it's easy for me. I just use my other phone for the back channel, but not everybody's going to see it every time. So that's the only challenge there, is that like if you post something and then the person you're talking to doesn't see it, you don't know they didn't see it. So it's like there's this like game to play, right? That we have back and forth, and you're just trying to figure it out. And then after you do rooms with people for a couple of times, or like let's say you host a room, Missy, and you're like, hey, would you guys all moderate with me? Then after a while, we'll get to understand your style, and it's just part of the process. Like I was a moderator in somebody's room today, and I didn't even know they were going to make me a moderator, and then they asked me to do something like, but I had no idea what they were doing. Yeah. But then next time I will know. Next time I'll know. And she said, we'll have you moderate next time too. And I was like, okay, well, at least I'll know next time. You know? I felt like I totally screwed up. Rules were made to be broken. Yeah. It's frustrating sometimes for me as that rule following type of person. It's frustrating for me when other people do break the rules because I didn't break the rule. That's the only reason. Because if they broke the rule first, then I'll break the rule. I'll follow suit. You know? But if I'm first, forget about it. Like I'm going to follow the rule. It's just who I am. So anyway. So that's good, is knowing from that perspective. if you are going to be the host, right, you're going to create your own room, then the people that you have as moderators set the tone for them. And so that way, and just know that way, so because you're taking charge of the room. This is your room. These are your rules. You're going to set them in place so everybody can follow those rules. And then it also lets the people in the audience and on the stage, it lets them know what the rules are, so they too can follow the rules. A lot of people like structure. A lot of people don't like structure, but those who like structure are going to appreciate that there's rules in place. Those who don't like structure really won't be too bothered that there are rules in place, because they'll just break them if they're going to break them. But they won't be bothered that there are rules in place. So, okay, let's see. But one thing is to, just as a reminder, is when we have people who are on the stage and they're speaking, I myself, and I've shared this before, I'm not like while I'm a compassionate person, I'm not like the touchy-feely compassionate person. So when somebody's on the stage, and there's no handout today, Pamela. So when somebody's on the stage and they say something that is really like heartwarming, I don't know what to say. And I just sit there thinking, oh my God, I hope somebody says something. So I'm always in those types of situations, I'm always hoping somebody will, unmute their mic and jump in, so I don't have to say, does anybody have anything they'd like to say? It makes me feel a little awkward because I feel like I should have something to say. And I don't know, it's just not my thing. I like to stay on the business side. There, I feel extremely comfortable. The other side, not so much. So I'm just sharing that because when we have people on the stage that have something to say that could potentially be, especially like last night, right? Because we were talking about imposter syndrome. I mean, gosh, how vulnerable, were some of the ladies being. So when you're being in a vulnerable state, if you think about it, at least for me, when I've been in vulnerable states, not that I want like validation, but I want to know I was heard. And so let's acknowledge, just make sure that when there are people, especially in a potentially heavy room, or when there's somebody speaking about something and it becomes a little bit heavy, maybe a little awkward sometimes, maybe just acknowledging them. We see you, we hear you, we know you're here. Because sometimes that's all they need. They just needed somebody that they could trust to share with, which is beautiful to be able to be that space for people. So I just wanted to share that. And then resetting of the room. You guys did really great on that. Resetting, it was like every 15 or 20 minutes, resetting the room. And Tanisha, you jumped right in there. You just you were like a pro, man. You just like you'd done it forever. So great job just jumping in there. That was awesome. I loved it. And then, don't forget to invite people up to the stage. If you want to come up and have something to say, raise your hand. You even need to tell them sometimes, because there are people joining this app every day, hundreds of thousands every single day. Because of that, there's a lot of people who don't really know what to do. And you might say, raise your hand, come up on the stage, but they don't know how. So you just say that it's the little hand at the bottom of your screen, push on that, and just let them know that they are invited to come up onto the stage. Yeah. So last night, what we're doing for the rest of this session is we're going to do one night on Clubhouse. We'll host a room, and then the next night we'll come back here and do like a little recap, or any feed forward that I come up with. And then so we're going to do that alternating until the 30th. So tomorrow night's room, we're going to discuss what topic it's going to be on. So this time we'll know, we're going to decide on something together. And I did ask, at the end of the night, I said, if you have a topic that you'd like to have us come back and talk about, let us know. So we got some topics, and we'll share those here in a bit. And then we'll just decide which one we're going to do tomorrow night. And then we'll do a different one Friday night, So I wrote down, tell them what the stage is about. Like, why do they want to come on the stage? What is it that we're talking about? What's the specific topic? And then it's important to do this is, if you're inviting people to ask questions or give a value or feedback, or just give some kind of value, let them know. So again, each time, right, you're going to say, so what, there was something Missy, you were saying it. I can't remember what it was last night, but it was great because you were saying, if you have a question about, because there was the one lady who she's like, I don't have anything to say. I just have a question, So I think she felt a little off track there because the sun started. She felt a little off track there because she didn't know anything about imposter syndrome. So inviting them to either ask a question or to provide value so that they know I can ask a question or provide value. Because sometimes some of the rooms, depending on the room you're hosting, sometimes all you want is questions. You don't want them to provide value. So I was in a room yesterday and all they wanted was people to ask questions. They were the experts going to answer the questions, right? The moderators, so like 3 of them or 4 of them. And then every single person on the stage was wanting to provide value. None of them wanted to ask questions. So it was really interesting to see how they handled it. And they just let them provide the value, which is fine. But again, it's about setting that expectation, before you bring them onto the stage, you remind them. Now, remember, when you come up to the stage, it's questions only, right? If that's what it's going to be. But remind them, only come onto the stage if you have questions, or come onto the stage if you have value or you have questions, right? So it's whatever. Again, you set the rules in the room and you reiterate them over and over and over again for those people who just hopped into the room and they have no idea what's going on. I know for me, when they do restate it, like say I'm in the room in 10 minutes, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. What are they talking about? I'm trying to, based on the conversations that are going on. And then when they reset the room and tell us, then I'm like, oh, okay, then I raise my hand, but I'll wait sometimes until I know exactly what. I don't want to get up on the stage and make a fool of myself, So how do we prevent people from being in that kind of position is we tell them what we're looking for in the room. Oh yeah, because there was somebody last night who said, and I wrote it quotes. This is what she said. I don't know what the room is about, because she had come onto the stage and it was her turn to speak. So she hadn't even been in there. So she didn't even know what the room is about. So again, instead of putting them into a position where they say something like that, if we can guide them to let them know, this is the conversation. And if you do have a question regarding that, or do you have some kind of value you'd like to provide, just so they know. And then, here's the add-on that I got for today. If you have moderators with you, so let's say it's your room and you have moderators with you. One of the things you can do first, when you open up the room, decide between, say it's you and one other moderator. Decide between the 2 of you who is going to be speaking to people as they're coming in while the other one is inviting people. Then you switch. Okay, I'm done inviting. You go ahead and invite. I've heard that people do this before, and I thought it was pretty smart, because that way there aren't people sitting in the audience wondering what's going on. Nobody's talking. What are they going to get? What's going? They just don't know. So in order to prevent them from leaving, somebody should be talking. So even if it's just if it's 2 of you, don't invite anybody into the room while the other one is, and vice versa. And then the other thing is, let's say, for example, we do something where, let's say Sally runs the room for 15 minutes. Okay. Now, while Sally's running the room, she's paying attention to the speaker. She's paying attention to, people wanting to come on stage. She's resetting the room. She's doing all these different things. And then while she's doing that, let's say all the rest of us are, moderators. The rest of us can be reaching out to those people that are on the stage and in the audience in Instagram, and say, hey, thanks for attending the whatever room, imposter syndrome room. We really enjoyed having you. Just something so simple. This is a potential for you to make a connection with somebody. You never know if this person might be your next client. So the fact that, remember, this is what I love about Clubhouse. My favorite thing about Clubhouse. People hop into a room because it interests them. Every single one of us who hops into the same room means we are all interested in that thing. So that's immediate connection right there. So you can just say something, hey, we were hosting the imposter, I'll just say imposter syndrome, because that's what we were last night. We were hosting the imposter syndrome room tonight, and I really enjoyed seeing you in there. What was your favorite part? You just ask them a simple question, something simple, so that they'll engage, not a yes or no. This is time for like an engagement question, right? So while you're in the room, take time to do that. Even if it's one person every 5 minutes or one person every 10 minutes, reach out to people. You got to build those relationships off of Clubhouse. And again, you already have an immediate connection because you're in the same room. Pamela.
Linda, I know that you started messaging some of us to let us know what was happening. And that's like maybe the only way you can really communicate with each other than saying, hey, Sally, why don't you moderate for the next 5 minutes or for the next 3 guests? But in terms of the Instagram messaging, you think that people should do it during the room or after? And then how would you divvy that up? Like, because you don't know who's doing what. Would you all just reach out to them or?
Yeah, definitely. So the first question is, do it. So some people will do it after the room is closed, and some will do it while the room is open. And I just do it while the room's open. And again, I only do like one every 5 or 10 minutes. I don't spend my whole time like just, messaging people like that. So it's only every like 5 or 10 minutes, I'll reach out to one person. So I'm not reaching out to a whole onslaught of people all at one time. And it's okay if Missy and Tanisha, Pamela, like we all message the same person, as long as we're not having the same exact message, because that would be kind of obvious, right? So it still be yourself, but it's, it's just, reaching out to them. It's having that touch point. And then most likely, because again, most of the women that we're going to attract are going to be those heart-centered women, and they have that, you're making this connection with them, that I saw you in the room kind of thing. And then what's going to happen is then they get the same sort of message from 3 of us, and then they've started to feel important. I shouldn't say they're starting to feel, maybe they already started feeling important from the first one. Wow, they noticed that. I know that's when I got a message from the first person that did that. I was like, that is so smart. That is so smart that they're doing that. I should do that, So it's like, I wouldn't worry about like too many of us reaching out or what have you, because we're all going to have different messages. We're all different people. They're going to resonate with different people. Some of us, they may respond back to, and some of us, they may not. But at least we took that first step. And so I do it during, because I'm not doing anything afterwards. Follow-up is not my middle name. So it's just not my middle name. So did that answer your question? Yeah.
Yes,
so
thank you so much.
You're welcome. So regarding the back channel, because we were talking about that a little bit earlier, the back channel, if you know who is going to be moderating with you, you're reaching out to people and you're inviting them to moderate with you, then what you do is you create a back channel and having all those people in it. Now, yesterday, what we did, it was so last minute, and so it just like came together. I don't know, I said, ask somebody to create a back channel, and then we just did it that way. It was on the fly. Typically, it's better if you have it more planned out, best laid plans, but it is better to have it planned out and have a back channel already created. And then you can even set a schedule. Say, okay, we're opening at 7. And so from 7 to 7:30, so-and-so is going to run the room. From 7:30 to 8, so-and-so is going to run the room. And you can do it that way. And there's no right or wrong. The right is to just do something and then make those connections with people, right? So there's no right way to run a room. I have seen so many, the gamut. And so I'm only going by what I prefer and what I think is the smarter way to make it cohesive, which I didn't do last night at all. I was like, I'm just going to throw them in there and see what happens. Now, that might not have been the best way to do it. It might not have been the smartest or the nicest, but it was what I did. And you guys did a great job. So that's, Okay, let's see. Let me look at some questions here. Do you have to have moderators? No, you don't. It's harder to run a room without help though, because now you got listen to everything everybody says. You're going to be the one that's going to be pinging people into the room, asking them to do that. You're going to be resetting the room. You're going to be inviting people to the stage and bringing them up. And then you're going to be, you have to really be, to me, to run a good room is to really be present, to be present for the people who are there. And so otherwise you're just putting on an event and you're not even getting the value out of it, So unless you want to be, if you want to be the one who runs the room and have somebody else, take care of other things, you can do that. But I'd recommend, I've done it myself. It wasn't a pleasant experience doing it myself, and I didn't even have a whole lot of people in there. But still, I had all these different things I had to remember to do. Like I felt like I had to do all these different things. I was like two weeks into Clubhouse. And I thought that you had to do all these things because I've attended like a lot of moderator trainings and stuff. And they all say, you got to do this, you got to do that. The reality is you don't got to do shit. You got to show up. You got to provide value, provide a space for people to be able to connect so that they are interested in reaching out to you as well as you reaching out to them and having those conversations, getting them off of Clubhouse. And, hopefully they'll purchase something from you because you're the person who's going to change their life. That's ultimately it. So these are just, ideas to come up with that, that helps you see how to run it more efficiently. That's it. So you don't have to do anything. You can run it however you want. These are just ideas. So it's your world, Pamela. The rest of us just live in it. You make the rules. If you don't want other moderators, you don't have to have them. Preach it, Tandy. Okay. Let's see here. Linda, you do a great job with the emotional situations. I do? Are you sure? Oh my God. I feel so awkward in those situations.
Do you know how many times I've cried on this Clubhouse call?
That's true.
Yeah, you always have the right story.
Oh, thank you. I'm here to listen. Oh, Lisa got her hair did. Look at her. Woo, woo. Love it. She's like,
I'm on mute. I forgot I'm on mute. I change my hair a lot. So, hey,
oh, okay.
It depends on how I feel. This is my summer hair. So, it's hot.
There you go. I love it. I love it. See, we didn't know you change your hair a lot because we've only known you for a couple weeks, right?
Yes. My husband, well, I don't want to say it because it's recorded. I'll say it after. So
hey, hold on a second. Oh my God, that cracked me up. Okay, I'm recording again. Sorry, you had to be here. You missed it. That was hilarious. I love that. It's so funny. You'll have to ask Lisa later, okay? Whoever's watching the replay. Okay, so I have like tears coming out of my eyes. Oh, that was hilarious. Setting expectations is one of the most important things for any relationship. That's true. And so that's a great point there, Tandy, because these are relationships that we're creating, right? So we're setting the expectation for them to know where the boundaries are. When we set the boundaries, and people who overstep the boundaries, we get to decide, we've talked about boundaries before, right? We get to decide, is this a person that I really want to have in my life? They're going to overstep the boundaries at the beginning. How are they going to be when they're feeling comfortable, right? So we get to decide this. So when we set rules and we decide what we're going to do from that point forward. So that's a great point, Tandy, because these are relationships. Like we all have a relationship here, right? All of us. Just amazing women getting together and doing stuff together, and I love you ladies. You're so amazing. And I'm so honored to be in your presence and to be here today with you, every day with you for 30 days in a row. Yeah, you're stuck with me 30 days. Okay, let's see. How are you reaching out while moderating? Just, I'm not sure the question, Tandy. So just like on my phone, is that what you mean?
No, I mean, so you're moderating, you're supposed to be listening to what people are saying. You're maybe also inviting people onto the stage and resetting. So in the midst of all of that, how do you have time to jump onto Instagram and send them a note?
So this is how, this is why having at least a co-moderator, at least having one works well, because then what you can do is you can decide up front, you can say, okay, Tondi, you're going to run the room for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to run it the next 30 minutes. During that 30 minutes that you're not running the room is the time you have that you can reach out to people. So when I'm like the lead moderator, I am 100% tuned in. I mean, I literally stare at my phone to see who's talking, to see everything going on. And I'm staring at my phone that whole time, and I'm taking notes because I want to make sure that when I speak to that person that I'm intelligible, and I remember what they said. So I will actually take notes. I'm 100% in that moment. I am there. And then when I'm not moderating, then I'm off doing the other things. I'm still listening, but I'm also, reaching out and at least starting a conversation. And a lot of times people respond during the event, during when it's going on. So this is a really great time to start those relationships. To answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, hold on. Time to yell at
And
me.
I would like to hear the rap for the record.
What would you say?
I would like to hear a rap from Lisa.
She did say maybe tomorrow. No, she did say tomorrow, I think. Lisa, get ready. She's like, oh, I have internet problems. Okay, hold on before we get there though. Okay, how could you do it after the room is closed? So a great question. Thanks for asking that. So to be able to reach out to people after, you'd actually have to go into their profile, write down their Instagram, and then go reach out to them. Other than that, I don't see any other way to do it. So for me, that ain't happening. I got to get them in the moment. Otherwise, it is not happening. Let's see. Heart-centered women. Yes, we all are heart-centered women. That's for sure. Tanisha, you could follow them on Instagram during the room, then go back later. Oh, that's a good one too. Thanks, Sally. That gets you off of the app though, right? Because that takes you over to Instagram. So here's something that I've seen happen in some of the rooms is that, let's say you're moderating, and then so one of the ladies is speaking, and then she's done speaking. She finished faster than you thought she would. And you're over on Instagram sending a message, but you're the one that's moderating. So when she's done speaking, guess what? Silence. It can be awkward, especially for that other person. And then I've heard this happen. I'm so sorry. I was messaging somebody. Can you please repeat what your question was? That is, you weren't listening. You weren't there for that person. To me, that's a crime. No, just kidding. But really, you weren't there for them. You were trying to take care of yourself. So that's why for me, like even if I'm running a room by myself, I don't reach out to anybody on Instagram. I just sit there and I provide that value. And I provide that space, and I am there with them 100%. So it's always better to have a co-moderator. Okay. I've seen the moderator get kicked out of their own room before. So it was good they had a co-mod. Oh, you mean when their co-mod might actually have kicked them out, by the way. That has happened.
I think sometimes it might be when Clubhouse is glitchy or someone, I've seen one person in particular, she had a bad internet connection and she just kept getting booted off. And she was thankful she had a co-mod because it wouldn't close the room, which is what would happen if she who opened the room got kicked out and didn't have a co-mod.
That's true. And what happens, actually, I saw this today. I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it happen. I was in this room and they said, okay, we're going to close the room. And then, bye, everybody. Bye, bye, bye. And I left. And then I was scrolling through my hallway. I was like, hey, they're still in there. Interesting. So I opened it up and they weren't there. The moderators weren't there, but it was like the next person in line became the moderator. And the only reason I know this, because this guy was a moderator and then there was this other guy and I was on stage because I left. And when I came back in, I was still on stage. And so when guy number one left, guy number two automatically became the moderator. So it just kept assigning the moderator. And so I was saying to that guy, I was like, hey, can you make me a moderator so I could end the room, so I could just at least end it and stuff. But it was kind of funny because he wasn't even there, but he was the moderator. So it was his, it was just really awkward. So it is, make sure you end your room, if it's your room, or if you're co-moderating with somebody and they say we're going to close the room and then they leave, but don't close the room, end the room for them. So that room is closed. So
How do
yes.
you end the room? Because is there a button that says end room, or how is that?
Yeah, when you're in the room, if you're a moderator, you're in the room on the very top, there's 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, one of those says end room. Yeah, so you really want to end that room. Otherwise, like we were in there, I don't know why I do. Sometimes I don't know why I do what I do. But I was in that room with this random guy, and I just kept talking to him. He wasn't responding, so I knew he wasn't even there. But I was like, you got to end the room. You got to hit. I just kept talking to him. And then finally I was like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my time in here talking to nobody. So I left. And there was some guy in the audience too. I didn't know what he was doing down there either. But anyway, why do you let audience?
Sorry.
Yes, Lisa, go ahead. Sorry.
I have a suggestion about reaching out to people after the room. So if you go on one of the other apps like Club or something like that, you can actually get all the names of the people who were in the room with you and their Instagram and everything. So you can actually have everything that you need for after, if you want to do that. Because I did that on my last room.
Is that clubhub.net? Is it that one?
Let me see. One, if you have a laptop or a PC, you can actually download it from the store. This is Club Deck.
Club Deck, yeah. I have that one. And you can go online on your computer using that one as well. I just forget about, there's so many apps out there.
Yes, and you can actually, with that one, you can actually, while the room is going, just use your, what is it? Oh man, now I can't even think of what it's called. When you, the snipping tool.
Oh yeah, snipping.
And copy and paste for later. And then you can go back and see all of the people who were in there. So just some different things you can do.
That's good. Thanks for reminding me about that. I completely forgot about that. Thank you. He said, why do you let audience members who come up stay on stage after they've had their questions answered or said what's on their mind? Well, there's one reason to do it and another reason to not do it. So I shouldn't say there's one. There's one that I can think of. The reason why you want to have people up on the stage is because the algorithm, the more people that are on the stage is showing that room is more active. Because when people are flashing their mics, like sometimes you'll say, hey, everybody, flash your mic if you agree with blah, 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 or whatever. And then so what that does is the algorithm says, okay, there's people in there, they're active. By putting less people on the stage, like they answer their question and they call it like tucking them down into the audience. When you tuck them down into the audience, then you can keep track of like who's next. So there's one reason to do that. Some people will have less people on stage and some will have a whole bunch on stage. Again, it's just deciding what you want, but the algorithms see those numbers on the stage. And then if you notice when you go into your hallway and you kind of looking through, most of the time, the ones that are at the top of your hallway are the ones that have the largest numbers in the room. So that's one other reason too, is because if you have more people on that stage, typically the higher up you'll move in the rankings in the hallway. So that's another reason to do that. That answer the question, Tanisha? Okay, cool. Time for a wrap. Okay, we'll do that. Oh my God, these are great. How do you stop someone giving a long share without being rude? Yeah, this is that fine line, I think, because it depends on where they are. If it's just a long share, if it's a long share and they're providing value, that's good, right? If it's a long share, they're providing value on the same thing that you do, that's a little fine line to run there. But if it's a long share and they're just going on and on and on about nothing, which happens a lot, then what I do is I say, excuse me, I'm going to go and stop you right here. So we're going off into a tangent. Let's bring you back. Here's the question. Or what is your question? Like if they're going to ask a question, what is your question? So I'll just say, excuse me. And then, but I don't ever mute them. I'll just say, excuse me, Lisa, excuse me. And then she'll stop, right? And then I'll say, we're going off track. The topic is this. What is your question? And then sometimes I'll say, can you finish up in the next 10 seconds? I'll give them like 10 seconds. And then most of the time they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that. Or I know I'm a runaway train. Like sometimes they'll say that. They know that about themselves, but they just do it because they do, Yeah. So that's one way to do it. It's just, excuse me, Bueller.
They do it in real life too. Think about it. It's no different from real life.
Yeah. And so in real life, like if you're in person, you can go, just cover their mouth. I've never done that, by the way. I'll try it next time. Is Mason scratching the floor or dancing? He was scratching the floor. Okay, people. Oh my God, these are funny tonight. How did you grow your following when you first got on Clubhouse? Great question. Thanks for asking. When I first got on, I jumped in there. You know what? The very first thing I did when I got in there, as I created my profile, I think I just took my bio because I already had a bio created for like when I get interviewed and stuff. I think I just copied and pasted that in there. And then I said, I wonder what this thing is. Start a room. So I started a room. That was the very first thing I did. And one person hopped in, didn't know them, or anything. And we just had a little conversation. And then I figured out how to close the room. So I closed the room. And then I decided, I think I'm going to like this. So I started looking around to see what was going on in some of the different rooms and stuff, and listening to the conversations. And then I started reaching out to people. I was like, oh my God, I would just reach out on Instagram. I really loved what you said in this room. I never say Clubhouse. I just say the title of the room. And I agree with you on that, or, I resonate with that, whatever. It's always the truth. I don't make up stuff. Like, it's always the truth. And so I just started reaching out to a lot of people. Actually, I have a movie star who's going to be in our book, Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. And I met her on Clubhouse. She was speaking and I reached out to her. Like, I didn't even get on stage. I was in the audience. I just reached out to her and I said, hey, would you tell your story in this book? And she goes, yeah, of course. So she's excited. So anyway, what I decided after the second day, I had about maybe 30 followers or something. And I made a mission. I'm going to get 1,000 followers in 30 days. That was my mission. And so I hopped into a lot of rooms, and it didn't take a lot of my time, but I hopped into rooms just trying to figure this whole app out, and I would hop into a room that had 5 people in it. I would get on the stage. Next thing you know, I had 4 followers because all 5 of us followed each other. And then I got into a room that had like 500 people and I got 0 followers. I was like, okay, that's not going to help me with my mission. When I'm on a mission, I am on a mission. And I hit exactly 1,000 followers on the 30th day, by the way. If I had said 20 days, I would have hit it in 20 days, but I said 30. So I gave myself 33 people per day was my goal. So I set that goal. Now I actually set my goal of 50 a day. So that way I could take the weekends off. So I really structured it a certain way that I could hit this goal. So I would hop into rooms that had 20 people. And then I would raise my hand every single time. I always got on stage, especially in those smaller types of rooms. So I'd get on that stage, I would speak, and next thing you know, I had 10 or 15 followers just from being in a room that had 20, 30 people in it. And just always, providing value for whatever the room was. Always the topic of the room. But I would only go into rooms that I could speak on. Because I wanted to get on that stage and I wanted to exercise my voice, exercise my value to see if there was some. And it just made, from there, what happened is after a while, they see you coming in and keep on providing value in their rooms. Then next thing you hop in and they make you a moderator, just like right off the bat. So this was happening within like the first 5 or 6 days. And I think I got on there. If I should have tracked it, like the actual time, but it might've been like 2 hours a day at the beginning, especially, and it got to be less and less, So now I hop in, I listen, but I'm not, before I was literally staring at my phone the whole time. And now I listen. If I hear something, I'll like perk up and then I'll kind of tune in. But like I'm almost at 3,000. It's taken me longer to get the next 2,000 than it did the 1,000 because I'm not as focused on getting those numbers. I set a goal and I hit it. So another thing I did, I'll share this last thing. That I see Tanisha has her hand up. The next thing I did also is I found there's a lot of what they call silent networking rooms. I don't know if they have them. They still have them, but not as many as they used to. So I would hop into a silent networking room. And what those are is everybody goes in there. Nobody talks to anything. Everybody goes and looks at each other's bios. And if they resonate, then you go reach out to them on Instagram. So I probably got about maybe 100 or 200 of my followers from those silent rooms. I would go in there. I would go in there, look through every single person's bio and reach out to them if they resonated with me. I would follow them. They would follow back, but I would reach out to them on Instagram. So I had a plan. I didn't know if it was going to work, but it did work. It got me the result I was looking for, which was 1,000 followers. Since then, at the very beginning, I'd say probably like the first 2 or 3 days, I followed men and women. And then I was like, what are you doing? You're just doing this for numbers. And I realized that. And my audience is not men. I work with women. So I started unfollowing all the men. I think I'm following about maybe 5 or 6 men because they're people I actually know, human, like I've actually met them in person. But other than that, almost every single one of the persons I'm following is a female. So, Tanisha.
Yeah, so I was just trying to say, like, for me, all of this, it's like the real world natural social awkwardness is coming alive online because like I'm a person, if you ask me a question, I can go, I can speak if I'm put in that role of, okay, I need to take leadership or whatever, no problem. But I am not a naturally like super opinionated person where I'm like foaming at the mouth, like, oh, I got it, so this is all for me, most definitely, stepping outside of my comfort zone. And even when it comes to just even choosing like on social media, I'm not big on social media personally. I'm mostly on social media because of business. Outside of I'll look at family and friends, but even then, like I'm not just on there. And so it's hard for me, like it's not a natural thing to be, my first inclination is not, oh, I want to follow somebody, to keep up with somebody in particular. And so I'm struggling just trying to figure out who to follow because I can hit that button, okay, let me follow you and, and stuff will pop up. But then from there, it's like, I guess it's like, how do you mold that purposeful follow and then cultivate it? You know what I'm saying? Like cultivate that follow, because it's really easy to, follow and connect with people. Yes. But then what do you do with it? Because if you're following, but they're not following you back, then you still aren't getting the attention that you're trying to get. And so, I'm having trouble with that. And then even just choosing some of the rooms to go into, because I'm always thinking about rooms that deal with business and things of that nature. But if it is like a room where I am in the audience and it's one of those, ask for advice kind of rooms, it's like, okay, yes, you want to get on stage because you want people to hear your name and all that. And, but you're also trying to come up with a question that fits what they're talking about that does not reflect badly on you and what you're trying to do for your business. You don't want to look like the novice if you're trying to build yourself as an expert. So these are things I'm kind of struggling with. I know I just threw a lot at you, but, kind of thoughts on that if you can.
Yeah, these are great questions. And I have experienced all of these challenges, for lack of a better term, myself. So let's address we'll go backwards. The last one that you just said, getting on a stage and asking a question, right? That makes it, so it's not making you sound unknowledgeable, but also asking an intelligent question so that people turn to you instead of away from you. That's how for me, like that's how I approach the questions. So I just make sure that those question type of rooms, that first of all, if it's something I'm knowledgeable about, I wait and see, is this a room that they're only allowing questions? If so, I won't stay in the room because I don't need to stay in there. But if it's a room that they're allowing us to ask questions and provide value, then I will get on the stage. Because now I know it doesn't look like I'm foaming at the mouth. I'm definitely not foaming at the mouth. You know, it has to do with just I want to provide value as much as I can. So it's more along like that lines, right? And so if it's a room where, like, for example, this one woman named Cheryl, she teaches video, and I didn't know her, and I hopped into her room. I think there were only 3 people in the room that day. And I hopped in there and just started talking to her. And then you know, some things came out, and she found out that I've done a lot of video work. And so then next thing I know, she's asking me to co-moderate with her because she knew that I could provide value for her audience and she didn't feel threatened, right? I think that's the deal, is to not feel threatened. So when we ask a question, we can phrase our questions in a way that are not like, we're not bragging about ourselves at all, but we can mention, like, I'll give an example. I've popped into podcast rooms, a lot of podcast rooms, and I'll say something like, I'm launching my podcast called Women Action Takers. So now I mentioned my podcast name, but it's not threatening. And my question is, how do I find the right types of guests? Now, see how that's a question that the guests are there in the audience. So the people I'm looking for are there. And I asked the question that has to do with podcasts. But then what happened, guess what? These people in the audience reach out to me and say, I want to be on your podcast. So now I've opened the door. So what I truly believe in, give. It's just like Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, jab, 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 right hook, give, then ask. So what I do is I give and give and give. Today, 4 people reached out to me to be on the podcast. I have something people want. So if we have something people want, they're going to reach out to us. Next thing you know, you're turning that conversation into a totally different conversation. So I talk about the podcast, then I ask them about something else. Is there something else I can help them with? You know, because I want to provide that value. So that was that. Does that help with that as far as the questioning goes? Okay, good. So just think it's going to take time to think differently, you know, when we go into these rooms, because we're value providers, right? We're providing value. And if we can think about it as the type of value that I provide, if it's good value, people are going to reach out to us. I go from a value perspective. That first 30 days, I had a goal, right? My goal was 1,000 followers. That was my goal, because I had this theory. If I get in the app and I get 1,000 followers, then I'll be seen as sort of like an influencer. I had this theory and I wanted to test it out. That's all I was doing. So then now where I go, I just provide value. People reach out to you when you provide value, especially giving all this free advice. And then now they're off of the app and they're into your Instagram, you're chatting with them. And so when you're chatting with them there, this is when you can kind of feel out the conversation, find out, what are they looking for? Can I solve that problem? Am I the solution for them? And if I'm not the solution, do I know the solution? And if I do, then let me connect them. Can I connect you with a friend of mine who does that? You know, I do that all the time. That's why, like, I'm known as like the queen of collaboration, because I'm constantly connecting people with each other, but always providing value. So coming to it from value perspective. Now, I answered that question first because it was the most current one. And I didn't write down the other one because I was too busy staring at you. So what was the first question? Just kind of remind me. You'll probably tell me one word. I'll remember.
The super short version is figuring out even what rooms to step into.
Yeah. So again, this is knowing what you want, right? Because remember, anytime you go into a room, set an intention. So what is my goal today on Clubhouse? I'm going to go into Clubhouse. I'm going to spend an hour on there. What is my goal today? So knowing what your goal is going to help you to figure out which rooms to go into. So if your goal is to get clients that day, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not a good goal to have. Because really the goal should be, what kind of relationships am I going to create today? What kind of people am I going to connect with? Am I going to be able to help somebody today? I want to be able to help 3 people by connecting them with someone or something. For me, it's always about relationships. You know, it's really about building those relationships. What kind of value can I provide today? Now, Tanisha, you have a lot of value. You have a tremendous amount of value to offer those people who are sitting on that app right now. So really, if you think about this, you're doing a disservice by not getting on that stage. To them, they need to hear what you have to say. Every time you open your mouth on Clubhouse, there's lots of value coming out of there. So I'm just going to encourage you to hop on this stage, even if you say, you know what, I'm going to go on for 15 minutes. Just get up there and provide that value. Because everybody here has it, but I'm talking to Tanisha right now because she asked the question. But getting on that stage, it's not about, I'm going to help you to change your interpretation of, it's not about foaming from the mouth, it's about providing a lot of value. That's what it is. That's why I can't get on the stage enough. The day that I discovered I actually have value, I was 51 years old. For 51 years, I didn't know that. So when I finally discovered that, I said to myself, I will speak every opportunity I get. So Clubhouse has given me that opportunity to share that value every opportunity I get. And so I'm just saying that because you have so much to offer. And by sitting in the audience, you're not providing that. There's somebody out there who needs to hear your message. For all of us, every single one of us, there's somebody out there who needs to hear your message, and they're waiting for you to be the one to give it to them. How does that feel?
It feels pretty amazing. I mean, I've always been a helper. I've said it before in this challenge before. I like educating people. I like helping people to figure out how to do the thing they're trying to do. And I take in knowledge like crazy. So I love sharing it and putting it back out there. And my challenge has always been getting paid to do that. But then also, I've never been the person who has sought to necessarily be in front, like, of anything. Like, again, I'll step up and lead if I need to. Got it. But that's not my first mental position. I literally have to say, okay, let's go. Let's go do this. It's not my natural position. So.
Okay. What I would love for you to do, this is your homework assignment, is to just make a sign that says, let's go. And put it up above your computer. Let's go. Let's go. You said it. Those are your words. I'm only using those because those are your words. Let's go. And take that lead. There are people there who need you to take that lead. You're the one who's going to guide them. And they're waiting for you to step into that position right now. So with that said, my recommendation for you is when you go into a room, when you get on Clubhouse, set that intention of today I'm going to lead. Today I'm going to lead. Whether it's leading a room or co-moderating a room with someone else, today I'm going to lead. Move into that position. And I know, I can tell by the look on your face that you know that's where you're supposed to be. You know it, right? Do you know, you do? Yeah, do you know it? She's like, I'm not sure if I'm going to shake my head or not.
No, I do. It's just, it's part of that. It's part of that. Like we were talking about yesterday, the imposter syndrome. Like my entire life has always been, even down to like my resume. Like when I used to send out my resume, when I used to keep trying to apply for jobs, part of my cover letter was like, this resume is a sample of what I have done, but not what I'm capable of doing. And that's kind of been my thing. There are so many things that I am capable and able to do. And sometimes it's just not having the opportunity to execute to the fullest. The knowledge I have and the things that I can help other people do, I haven't always been in a position to do it for myself. But that doesn't mean that I don't know what to do or how to help somebody else to do it,
Mm-hmm.
And, so that you know, that was, you know, that was kind of part of, I think that's part of it. That's part of that, you know, that imposter syndrome feel, you know, to know how to do something and to be able to tell somebody else, but then knowing that you haven't been able to do it, but you're also aware of the reasons why you haven't been able to do it. And you're aware that that person is not necessarily in the same place. Like, to have those same challenges have blocked them. They're in a different place. And I can see you have this. Like, I have people I've talked to who have huge social media followings right now and they want to get in business. And I'm looking at them like, why are you not monetizing this? I'm telling them, do this, do this, do this. You have these people following you. Every time you put out a message, you'll make money. So why are you not doing this? I'm trying to get these followers like you already have. And, you know, so anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
Has anybody ever felt like what Tanisha is mentioning right now?
I was going to say, like last night, I would never have thought about any of what you're saying right now, Tanisha, because when you were speaking, it was powerful and you were a natural. And it's like, for me, being on Clubhouse, my issue is I feed off of what I see, people's energy. I have an issue because I don't see the people, you know, and they're not responding right away. That is killing me. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna say this or that, or what should I say? So it's similar but different, you know, but it's the same issue of how going into Clubhouse, and it's really, really uncomfortable. But I could not tell that at all last night when you were talking. No kind of way, just to let you know.
I told you, when I got to step into it, I step into it, and it's genuine and it's legitimate. And it's when I am speaking with somebody in person, I'm legitimately, you know, trying to help them. And like I said, I have all this knowledge, and it's I may not have been able to do something I'm advising them to do, but that doesn't mean I don't know to do it. It's just, you know, a matter of time, you know, some time or opportunity. So yeah, like I totally can step into those roles. I totally can become that as I need to, but it is definitely a conscious decision, you know, when I'm doing those things.
So then it's stepping into that conscious decision, right? That conscious awareness. I'm deciding to do this right now. Let's go, right? Turn on the let's go sign. And yeah, really, it's really interesting because, you know, all of us here at least have experienced imposter syndrome. We were talking about it last night, and, you know, we've all experienced, I experienced it way too regular than I would want to, you know, for sure. But it's that checking in and saying, well, wait a minute. Why am I doubting myself right now? Why am I doubting myself? Because that's what it is. And say, I have the knowledge and I can do this. I got this. And then let's go. Right. So it's just turning that around and going into the rooms with that intention. So the rooms I would recommend is, again, my recommendation to you, Tanisha, is to get on the stage as often as possible. Maybe you make a decision three times a week or 2 times a week. I'm going to get onto the stage and I'm going to provide value. That's my mission, right? And then find those rooms that are talking about topics that you're knowledgeable about. So that way, when you do step onto that stage, you know, I got this. I got this. The imposter is not coming out today. You know what I mean? But make that conscious decision, because that's what's going to help you to move into a place of authority. When we get on the stage and we speak, it's what helps us to move into that place of authority. We're in a place of authority. That's when people look up to us and they want us to help them. So it's kind of a weird thing moving. I myself had a challenge when I was moving from the person who's always like helping. I was always a support person. I was a secretary for 20 years. I put on events for other people, right? So I was always that second behind the scenes and everything. And then when I moved into that place of that leadership where I was on the stage in front of people, it was a little bit scary at the beginning because it felt like there was a lot of responsibility. Like I have to know everything I'm doing. But the reality is I just need to step up and be myself. And I was worried that myself wasn't enough. I was worried that myself was not enough. but I'm found that myself is plenty, just showing up as me. Because if we even just showing up as me gives other people, and I hate the word, but they use this, gives other people permission to be themselves, but it makes them feel comfortable. It gives them like, oh, wow, if she can do it, I can do it, and to be into that position, it's hard to be in that position. When we don't step up into the leadership role, right? So when we step up there and we share our vulnerability, or we step up there and we share that, I'm having this challenge, it's a position for us to say, you know what, I've got this, you can do this too. So, Pamela.
My question goes back to the moderator. So you mentioned that sometimes you'll go in a room and then they'll invite you up. Is there an unwritten code for exactly what your responsibility is? Or do they somehow tell you what you're going to be doing? Or like, do you assume what you're doing? And how many moderators do they have?
It's the gamut. First of all, there are no rules. There's no written rules. Like there's every single room is different. Every room is different. So if you have, for example, when I was in today, I was funny. I hopped on there and I was like, wow, everybody's a moderator on this. There were about 10 people on stage. 9 were a moderator and 1 wasn't. And I said, okay, well, maybe they're just having, when the one person speaks, they send them back down to the audience, because some will do that. And then I came on this stage and they made me a moderator, and they made that other. So every single person they brought onto the stage, they made a moderator. So
what do you do when you're a moderator?
Well, I don't do anything. Okay. So,
Okay.
Okay. Great question. So if somebody makes me a moderator in a room that it has happened in rooms that I don't know anything, I don't know anybody in there, because they're just making everybody a moderator. You just sit back and you're a moderator. You're just called a moderator. But some rooms, I know the people, and so I'll message them and I'll say, thanks for making me a moderator. What would you like me to do? And sometimes I never hear from them because they're not looking at their messages. That's okay. At least I did this step to ask. And then I just sit back and I just am a moderator. I only participate as a moderator if I know what my rules are. But it's okay if they make you a moderator, then you just sit there as that, with that little green thing on there.
Yeah, you did that to me once, and I was like, I don't know what to do. What do you need me to do? I was like, It was like about a month ago.
Yeah, I think I'll do that to you guys, no matter what. You hop into the room, I'll just make you a moderator.
Well, now I know what to do, but I still, like, let's say you make 3 people moderators without people knowing who's going to go first. They all just say, okay, I'm taking over. I think there has to be some sort of etiquette that you somehow expect. But if you're not able, unless you're able to say, hey, Tanisha, Sally, and Lisa, thank you for agreeing to be moderators. Tanisha, I'd like you to take over for 15 minutes. And unless you instruct them, like, I don't know how people would just know unless you're messaging them behind the scenes or texting them if you know their phone number.
And I've done that before, where I just, thank them for, being up there and being a moderator. Even though they're not doing anything, they still get that acknowledgement that they're a moderator,
Okay.
and that's really for, like, other people are seeing that, they're a moderator, and people do put stock in that moderator
Status, credibility, and status. And
so why not make people moderators, especially if they're people you already know. For me, like, there's a lot of rooms now that I hop into that they automatically make me a moderator, but it took time, to create those relationships and to foster that. And it's definitely, I don't know. I just love everything about Clubhouse.
Yeah. What would you feel comfortable doing? Like, would you ever step into the real moderator role in a room if you felt like it would be beneficial?
It depends. Again, it's about the relationships, right? So let's say I've had times where I mentioned the lady Cheryl before, that does videos, and she, every time I'm in her room, she makes me a moderator. And so I know that she trusts me. And since she trusts me, I'll invite people up to the stage, and I only invite people that, like, I'll look at their bio and I'll look to see, do they have a full bio? Do they have an Instagram? I want to make sure that they are a valid human being, before I invite them up to the stage. Or if it's somebody I already know, I'll just invite them up to the stage. So doing stuff like that. But I would never overstep that bound. Here's the thing. If there's 4 moderators, nobody knows who's doing what. So it could be somebody else that's inviting them to the stage, not me. So there's no rules. Everybody makes their own rules in their own rooms.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah, about that, I was just going to say that I think a lot of times they make you moderators to help you grow your following, because when people are in the audience or other people are on stage, they seem to follow the moderators. So if it's somebody that you've met in another room and they recognize you, they may just make you come into their room. They may just make you a moderator just to give you a little bit of a clout and to help you grow your following.
Yeah, I do that too. And I've appreciated it when people have done. I remember the very first time somebody made me a moderator. I'm like, oh my God, they made me a moderator. Like, I had already run my own room. I started out, the very first thing I did was run my own room. I didn't know what I was doing, right? So I had already been a moderator, my own, but nobody else had made me one. And I was so excited that, and it's so funny because the simplest things, get me excited. I don't know about everybody else, but the simplest things get me excited. And so I loved it. I feel good. Like today I went into this room, I got up on stage and she immediately made me a moderator. And this one girl,
my first time I was in a room with Forbes and she made me a moderator, but there was awesome. Like 800 moderators on the stage. So I was like way down to the bottom, but
I don't even go into those rooms anymore, because there's just, they're talking and stuff. Green Room has been a very interesting platform as well. But yeah, they're having conversations, which is awesome. And if it's not what I'm looking for, then I don't even go in there anymore, because I'm not gonna, I won't matter. And I want to matter. And just be honest, I want to matter. I want to make an impact, and I can't make an impact sitting in the audience, not being heard at all. So
speaking of Green Room, they just changed the gems to 30 minutes.
Oh, they did? Darn, I should have gotten all my gems.
I'm like going wild on there today.
Oh my gosh.
So I was on there earlier. I just don't get Green Room yet, I guess.
And the gems, it's like, what do you need the gems?
What are they for? Yeah. What's the purpose?
I'm thinking maybe
it's good.
Pamela's like, what the hell are they talking?
Maybe later you can use. I was thinking maybe later they might use them to buy like frames for your photo. 1,000 gems. You can buy this frame, or use it for.
Well, I started off with 1 gem this morning, and by the time I left the room, I had 287.
Yeah.
Because the room I was in, every so often he say add gems to everybody. But it's still weird. That's
okay. Can everybody look at Pamela's look on her face? I mean, it's priceless. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, yeah, let's get back
to a kids game, the kids games where they get gems and stuff.
They have gamified the app, and it's a very interesting platform, that's for sure. But let's get back to this, and then we'll come back to that.
Yeah, no problem.
The gem game. Drop me some gems. That's my thing. My name is Linda Sunshine. Drop me some gems. And I don't care how silly it sounds. Let's see. How should we find, provide value, provide space? Yes. Mason knows Morse code, and he's trying to tell you he wants to moderate for you. He's trying to tell me he wants to eat. Yourself is fantastic. Appreciate your authenticity. Thank you so much. Going to bed. Oh, good night, Missy. Like, who left? If someone invites you to the stage to speak, you speak, and they leave you up there. Do you have permission to just chime in on the discussion, or do you just sit quietly because you're not a moderator and yields to the mods? That's a great question. And again, it depends on the room. Some rooms, like one of my friends, she runs a room that always has like 100 people or whatever. And there's always a lot of people up on the stage. And her thing is that if you have something to say, then you say it. Always. It's called Sisterhood of Influential Women or something like that. So that's a great club to join. Sisterhood of Influential Women. But she's like, no matter what, I don't care who you are, if you're on the bottom of the stage, if you're a moderator, if you've got something to say, you say it. And I really love that that premise that she uses. It's a really great club. But again, it's going to depend. If you have something like, I have got to say something, then you can just say, hi, this is Tanisha. I'm down on the bottom. Can I speak to that? Or, I have something I'd like to share on that. And then they'll decide yes or no. Sometimes I've done that and they're like, I'm sorry, we're just having the moderators provide value. I'm like, okay. Then I sit there and I wait a couple minutes, then I pout and I wait. Just being honest, ladies. Just being honest. Okay. I'll pout. To myself. Of course, they can't see me pouting. But for like 2 minutes. 2 minutes is my time limit. I pout for like 2 minutes. I tell my husband, I just need to pout for 2 minutes. And then I get over things. But anyway, that's okay. So any other things, questions? You guys are providing great value and also great questions. Anything else before we move to green room? I'm not move to green room, but talk about green room. Nancy.
You knew I was going for it. So I'm so sorry, you guys, I joined late.
That's okay.
And I had to leave early yesterday, but I'm sure we all talked about it, but my God, what a powerful room. And how totally cool was it for you to get all the love that you got, Linda? I mean, I felt like we're the cool kids that have our little chat going, and Linda's our leader. And I was so bummed I had to leave, but I'm telling you, it was such a cool experience. And thank you so much for guiding us, because I didn't even know how, because I missed the weekend. I didn't know how to make people moderators, but I figured it out. And it was really, I loved having your guidance behind the scenes and how to kind of the cadence and stuff like that. And so I just really wanted to say thank you very much. And I learned a ton. And I felt so close to you guys. It was like, look at my girls. Oh my God, this is so cool. So I just wanted to share and say thank you. And thank you all you guys. It was so much fun. It was really cool. So thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And you guys did get me crying. So. And it was Carmel. Oh my gosh, because Carmel, I met her in Arizona, and oh my God, what amazing, right?
Yes, that like set me over the pride meter. I was like, yeah, that's the girl.
She got me good.
We could have talked about that like 3 more hours, actually. I don't think really anybody was ready to go, but it was like we had to go if we must go to bed.
Yeah.
It was just so much. I got so much from that.
No,
There were so many breakthroughs from the people that came up too. Like I was surprised that people were saying that they didn't realize other people hadn't experienced, or they didn't realize that they were not the only ones that were experiencing imposter syndrome. And I just wanted to put my arms around them, like, no, you're not. We all do. But it was obviously that love was felt in the room. It was the best room I've been in since I've been in Clubhouse, which isn't long, but still it's way high up.
That's
way
awesome.
High above everything else. So thank you.
I really liked how Sierra, I think was her name, she mentioned that, right? That she was like, I'm not sure why I'm in here. I don't have imposter syndrome, but as I'm hearing you all speak, I realize I do.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's my friend. And
that's right.
I've been trying to get her to see that for a long time. So as soon as I could, I was pinging her in the room, and she's like, what are you talking about? So I was so happy that she got it last night. It was like an eye opener.
And then she really participated, right? Like from then on, she like really,
Because, it's funny, like she graduated from college and she didn't want to tell anybody. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's a big accomplishment. And she's like, but I don't have that's why she was saying all those degrees she's supposed to have. She felt like she needed all those things before she could celebrate. I got my first college diploma. I was like, no, you need to tell people about that. That's serious. So that was a very wonderful moment for me, because we've been friends for like 5 years and had that conversation so many times. So that was great.
It was good. It was, And I see Pamela just posted, maybe imposter syndrome should be a regular room. And I agree. I think that would be a good one. And what I would like to do is as we're getting close to the end of this challenge, right, we have well, 8 more days left after tonight, is I would love to do that, is to have us come together and decide, like, maybe there's 2 times per week that maybe a couple of us do one room that day of the week at that time, and a couple of us do another room that day of the week at that time, like leading, like have a couple people leading different rooms. And then of course everybody else is invited to come, but kind of like being in charge of, running that particular room. So I'm not sure if anybody's interested in that. Like, like Sally, you with, let's see, the self-care. I'm trying to think who else in the group would, trying to think of all the names.
The health coach.
And Paige too. Paige, she hasn't shown up for any of these, but she does intermittent fasting. So she is about healthcare too. She lost 100 and something pounds and has kept it off for years. And so it's just like combining, taking the resources, like everybody who in this group has, come together cohesively and creating a room that's like a regular room.
Right.
And like Pamela and you and Sylvia could do one on love, right? I mean, so then you're coming from 2 different perspectives, but still, you don't know. The thing is that really it's about our second connections that are the most valuable ones. So it's not who I know, it's who I know, who they know. It's who they know. So even though there could be ladies, in the love room, right? And then maybe none of them is lesbian, but they know a lesbian. And that's the thing. It's really about not who I know, it's who they know. Yeah. So I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I think the imposter syndrome it's a very generic topic. And so that's a good one because any of us can participate in that. So maybe we do that one on a regular basis, every week on a regular basis. And then whoever can mod that week mods and whoever can't, kind of thing. But we just like set it up for like, that's going to be one of our weekly things. And people really loved it. I love it when they say, I saw the title of the room and that's what got me in here. Sally, you have something?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I put the topic ideas in the chat there. So one was these were some suggestions that came from other people that were in the room. How to get past worrying what others think. That's imposter syndrome, isn't it? In a way. And the fear of judgment. Yeah. And then being a good boss to yourself. I wasn't sure if I really liked that one myself, but I don't know. I'm wondering what you ladies think about that one. How do you discipline yourself in business? See, so Lisa, that would be a really good one for you. How to be strong without acting like a man. I love that one. Sally, no? Stop listening to the opinion of others. That was Sally's there. Let's see. Knowing when to go your own way. Now that is perfect, I think, for Pamela and Sylvia, right? Because it's more like, I see that more along the lines of love, but maybe it could be something different too. Let's see. They felt compelled to share. How to know when to create a smaller circle of people around you. And then getting past what people think. So do you ladies like any of those? And if so, let's figure out one, because tomorrow night we're doing a room. We're doing a room at 6 o'clock. So we just need to come up with a consensus of the title of the room.
I think we had about 3 or 4 of them about getting over what people think and worrying about the.
Yeah, I feel like if you
Go ahead, Tanvi.
I feel like the issue of what other people think is so huge and is such a impediment in people taking action, whether it's like, I don't want to do a video because I'll look stupid and people how will I look to other people? So I don't know if that should be the title, but I think that that's a definite pain point for people. Or what if I fail, or if I look stupid, or what if people talk about me? There's a lot of concern about people.
Yeah, that fear of judgment. Oh gosh, it stopped me from living.
Mm-hmm.
From like really living my life as me. So That's definitely something
Yeah.
I can speak talk on.
Yeah, overcoming fear of judgment or something. I don't know.
And the challenge there is like, do they actually know it's judgment that is their fear? Like me, I didn't know that that was my fear until I started examining it, by facing fears. But if that's a topic to go on, just coming up with a title that makes sense. So Nancy, come up with our title. How do you discipline
They're like,
yourself in your
"Get
biz?
past people
Boo.
think."
What was that?
I said boo.
Getting past what other people think.
How
Okay.
about what we think too? Because sometimes how we judge ourselves is the biggest impediment. And that's actually why we judge others and we judge situations. Those are the three things.
So
I'm-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've been doing this positive intelligence coaching, and this guy talks about how we have saboteurs, and the saboteur is what keeps us from being successful in life and relationships. And the judge, everyone has the judge, and the judge is brutal, brutal, brutal. And we need to quiet the judge every day,
Guilty.
just a little more, a little
Guilty.
more.
Yep. So
But
I
the
was
judge is
thinking,
brutal. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. I apologize. I was just thinking, what about the title being, who's the biggest judge? Me, you, or them? And let people just figure it out as they talk.
I don't know if
Well,
that would bring them in.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's what came to my mind because of what Pam was saying.
Okay. Yeah, the getting out of your way actually is the room I was in earlier today. That's the title of the room, getting out of your own way. And they run that room every, let's say Tuesday. They run it every Tuesday, but it's a really great room, a great topic. And we can have the same title. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
The question is, can we word it just slightly different so they're not saying, oh, they're taking our title. Not that they would, but other people. So I did something where I was saying a phrase that I probably heard, 4 or 5 years ago. And somebody told the person who I heard the phrase from, said, Linda's using your phrase. That's just crazy. And so she reached out to me and said, so-and-so told me that you're using my phrase. Okay, I won't use that ever again. Are you a mean girl to yourself? How mean is your inner critic? Yeah. Clear your path. Clear your path. It's very vague because we need something to be specific. Is your inner critic holding you hostage? Okay, I'll say some. You guys do thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. How do you discipline yourself in your biz? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Everybody's got to vote. Okay. Okay. I do not, I won't use the AF, the don't give a F. I can't go. I won't be there. If you guys want to do a room call that, I'm all for that, but I won't be there. And I just have a thing about that word. Getting out of your way. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I guess you can do like I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. Are you a mean girl to yourself? Nobody even knows what to do. Okay. Okay. How mean is your inner critic? Nancy, not sure? Did you vote? Lisa.
I thought I did but I was thinking of shushing your inner critic, something a little.
Quieting your inner critic?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are good. It was just maybe they need to be worded different as far as a title.
Little wordsmithing. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Is your inner critic holding you hostage?
Actually,
I like that.
Yes.
Is inner critic Does everybody know what an inner critic is?
I got
Seven.
one.
I do, but I've been
How
trained.
about
in
have
it.
you met your inner critic?
Have you met your inner critic?
Oh, yeah, you have.
I don't know if that helps solve anything.
Or
Is
remove, what about like something along the lines of like removing what's holding you back, or what's holding you, getting past what's holding you back? I don't know. I'm trying to rephrase the getting out of your own way. I like getting out of your own way.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, so let's okay, getting out of your way. Well, it's a good one because, like I said, it works in that room. It works well. So and it's the shares that people come up with is really incredible when they're talking about how they're in their own way. You know, the vulnerability is incredible. So let's see. Getting out of your way, getting out of your own way. Move aside, girl.
How about what if you did getting your way? That's a little more positive.
I think there's something missing there. I know I like to stay on the positive side, but also I want to attract them to come into the room.
Yeah.
Actually, this time I want them to come into the room and we stay on the positive side.
Imposter syndrome be gone.
Right. That's probably what we need to go back to.
What's an easier way of saying inner critic? Like if you were telling a 5-year-old inner critic, how would you say that?
Inner voice.
Stinking thinking.
Stop the stinking thinking.
Stop the stinking. I like that.
The meanie in your mind. Stop the stinking.
I like the meanie in your
like-
mind.
thinking. The meanie in your mind. Stop the meanie in your mind.
Have you met the meanie in your mind?
Okay,
I don't know that it works for a title for this, but they asked how you would say it for a kid, and that's how I would tell my kid.
I like it. What do you guys think about stop the stinking thinking? Thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways.
Well, it's vague
It's
because
vague. Okay.
I mean, now of course you can direct it in the room, you know how you want it to go, but it's vague because, which may be good because then people will just come in to be like, what the heck is this? So if you want to, do something off of curiosity, then it works. But if you want people in there for a specific topic and not to just kind of draw in to see who comes in, it may or may not work.
Let's try it.
I like it. I mean, I think more people know what stinking thinking is than imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like they're big words, imposter syndrome, but together it's big words, right? It's like, yeah. Okay, let's do it. Stop the stinking thinking. Okay, so I will set up the room. Are all of you available tomorrow night to be in that room? Because if so, I'll go ahead and what do you call it?
I can be there for an hour, but I gotta leave it.
Okay, so just so I know if I can make you a co-host or not.
Yeah, but early on.
Okay.
That's at 6, right? I mean, 6.
6 o'clock Pacific time. 6 o'clock Pacific time. The time that we normally start this. Okay.
Okay, then I won't be until a little later.
Okay, so I'll still make you a
Wednesday is tomorrow.
co-host. I'll still make you a co-host so your name will show up in there. And then when you pop into the room, you'll automatically be on stage.
Okay. But I'm supposed to be a moderator tomorrow at 9 tomorrow night.
Okay, cool. Okay, but here's the next thing. Okay, so that was the easy part. So here's what I would like to see in the room is we'll do like every 15 minutes, do a switch of the moderator. That moderator will take charge during that 15 minutes time. And we'll go in order of the PTR, which is pulled to refresh. We'll go in order of that. And so when we get in the room, whoever is next to me will be the first moderator. Okay, so you guys all fight for it. And then let's see, Tanisha, can you create a back channel for us in Instagram like we did yesterday? So we had the just create a group. Do you know how to do that? Facebook Messenger group?
No, I've
Okay,
never done that
perfect.
before.
I'm glad I've assigned this to you then. We'll walk you through that in just a second. So Tanisha's going to create our back channel. And then whoever gets in there first will be right next to me, because I'll be in there. And then the next person will be in there right next to me. That person is going to be the first moderator to run the room. So what we're going to do, here's what I want you to do differently than last night, is I want you all to know what your call to action is. What do you want people to do? So Sally, if you have your event on Sunday and you want to invite them to your event on Sunday, make sure you do that. When you come up as the moderator, share who you are, what you do, who you serve, and share what you want them, the call to action. So I want each of you to take that time to have a call to action and to invite people to join you, whether it's connect with me on Instagram or whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is to me. I just want you to have one. Okay, so I want you to get used to that. And then every 15 minutes. So let's say I'm just going to go on the order that I see on my screen. Let's say I'm in there and then Tanisha jumps in. So Tanisha, after Tanisha is Pamela. So Tanisha, when you're done, your 15 minutes is up, still, it doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of guide it. Then you say, okay, Pamela, go ahead and take over as the moderator. Now, Pamela, you're coming up and hi, everybody. I'm Pamela. I'm going to be your moderator. And you don't have to say for 15 minutes, whatever, but I'm your moderator and I do this. And I would love to invite you to this. Okay. Now we're talking tonight about the stinking thinking. And then if anybody has any questions about how they can get past their own stinking thinking, or do you guys have tips and tricks that can help other people get past their stinking thinking, raise your hand and get on the stage. We want to hear from everybody. And tomorrow night, let me look at my calendar before I say something. I want to say that tomorrow night I will stick there. I'll plan on staying there. You don't have to, but I'll plan on staying there through 9 o'clock. So I'm going to plan on 3 hours. If we have a really good room and people want to stay on there that long, I want them to have that opportunity. Okay, so then Pamela, your 15 minutes is up and you're like, awesome, Sally, you got it. But just make sure you go in order of who's on the stage. So instead of us doing all this chat up on this, in the app or anything, we can just run it that way. It's running smoothly. Now, Tandi's the last one, is this example. Tandi's the last moderator. And when Tandi's done, if we still have time left, okay, Linda, take it away. So then go back up to me. And then we'll just go around again. If you have to leave, that's okay. Just leave. You don't need to announce it. Just go ahead and leave. And we'll know that we won't call on you because you won't be there.
And then are we bringing people up on stage, or is somebody else going to do that when we're a moderator?
We should all do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So invite people. So it's kind of funny if you're like, let's say we had all of us, right? How many is there? 7 of us right now. And then somebody comes in the room and then 7 people invite them to the stage right away. I'm always like, oh my God, I guess I better go. If by the third one, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go out there, So
we should ask, do you have a question or do you have a tip on how to deal with your stinking thinking?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they can provide some value too.
Yeah. So do you have a question for the moderators? Like, let's be specific, right? Do you have a question for the moderators of how we can help you through your stinking thinking? Or do you yourself have a tip that you can share with us? Or a story? That's good, Sally. Question, comment, or story. Do you have a question, comment, or story? Oh yeah, Tandi's traveling tomorrow. Well, 1 a.m. Nancy.
I have one comment and one question. Should we be only saying one call to action. Like if I want to talk about mine and Rita's room, if it's appropriate there to say it, or one of my freebies or something like that, or go to wherever, just one.
Yeah, just one to call to action, because otherwise it gets, we don't want to confuse them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you said back channel yesterday, today, I thought you were saying bat channel, like Batman's channel. I was like, they're the bat channel. We're so cool.
Everybody tune into the bat channel. You got your bat phone. So now regarding that call to action question, that's a great question. So let's say we've gone around and you've all done, your moderator stint, right? And then it's back the second time around. Do a different call to action. You don't have to do the same one the whole time. I just mean like in that one moment, just do one call to action. So you can give different ones, but not in the same moment.
That makes sense.
Perfect. Yeah. So so Nancy, do your own call to action first, and then the next time, the one with you and Rita. Take care of Nancy first, and then take care of Nancy and Rita.
Good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? It's going to be fun tomorrow. Stop the stinking thinking.
We just get on at 6:00. Just get on Clubhouse.
Yeah. So what'll happen is when you, do you want me to pull it up on my screen?
Pull up what?
Is that a yes?
No. So we just get on your Clubhouse, Women Action Takers. At 6. We're not going to get on a Zoom call first.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah. So what's going to happen is you're going to go to and. So I want to show you something. So hold on a second. Okay. So I'm going to create the event. Let's see, do I have anything? I'm going to create the event. And what you're going to do is from your hallway, you're going to click on the calendar, on your calendar. And then the upcoming for you, you're going to click that drop down and it's going to say my events. And at the very top will be our event, Stop the Stinkin' Thinkin'. When you click on it, so I'm going to click on this top one right now. Oh, it's not doing it because it's tomorrow. When you click on that event, the Stop the Stinkin' Thinkin', what you'll see is a green bar on the bottom, and it'll either say start the room, or it'll say join the room in progress. So don't click on that until it says join the room in progress, because that means I've opened the room. If you open the room, you'll be in the first position there.
Oh, okay.
So if you open the room, I'm going to have to send you down to the audience, invite you to come back up to speak, and then make you a moderator. So wait till it says join the room in progress. Got it? Okay. Let's see. Anything else?
Thank you.
Is anybody going to stay with me for 3 hours? Or am I going to be by
Nope.
myself? Nope.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving now.
No, not right now. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. She's like,
Tomorrow I can't.
I'm not even
I have
starting.
Toastmaster.
Oh.
Toastmasters.
Okay.
I was so tired last night. I was cross-eyed and I had to prepare for a morning meeting. Oh, Lord. That was rough.
I know it's late for you East Coasters. But yeah, it's okay. I can do it myself or not, right? Or I could just make other moderators while we're in there. If there's somebody in there that I trust, I'll just ask them if they want to be a moderator and then make them a moderator. But that's the latest I'm going. Like, I'm not planning on staying till 9. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But I belong to this one chat group that I swear this morning I woke up, there were 350 chat messages from them from last night, all about Green Room. It's not even a green room group. They're all talking about green room. I got this many gems. I got that.
What's a chat room?
Oh, it's no, just Facebook Messenger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a group, like a chat group. I think there's like 40 of us in there. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do anything without getting a notification. But yeah, so the green room it's a kind of interesting platform because it's similar to Clubhouse. It has some things that are better, but it has things that are worse. So it's like just figuring it out. One of the things I don't like is you can't create your own club over there. So you have to, and you have to create your room under a club. So this means you have to join some clubs and then decide which club you want your room to be under. So my very first club was under NFL because I only had two options, NFL or NBA. So I chose NFL. So it's kind of interesting. And then the gems don't mean anything. There's people spreading rumors about it's going to be about this, gems, you'll be able to do this, gems, and then there's just a bunch of rumors going around. I don't believe in rumors. I wait till I hear facts. And then you can't even get gems if you're not on the stage. So on that platform, there is no value if you're just in the audience, unless there's something valuable happening in the room. Unlike the room I hopped in the other night and they were like, oh, thank you so-and-so for your gems. Okay, Jane, I just sent you a gem. Jim, I just sent you a gem. Cheryl, I just sent you, there's like everybody unmute yourself and everybody tell everybody that you're sending them gems. Like that was the room.
Oh God.
That was the whole room.
Topics aren't even like interesting over there. It's
like all about the gems.
I'm like, what is this? It's like,
drop me some gems.
Right.
Yeah, it's a crazy app. And, I think it'll settle down. It's only 5 days old now. Cause I realized I found out it just opened on the 17th. So it's just 5 days old. So I think it will settle down. And we had our room over there and a guy who has been on since Foot Locker, he hopped into our room and I'm sure it was because it wasn't about the gems. So I think that people are getting on the app and they're looking and they're getting disheartened because it's like gems this, gems that. And so any room that's open in there that's not about the gems, I think it'll settle into that. So that's my thought. Nancy?
I was going to ask you, is it Locker Room or Foot Locker that it was before? Whatever it was.
Locker
Do you
room.
know
Locker
how it has evolved from, because it was just about sports, right? It was just, that's why you had the NBA or the NBA,
Yep.
NFL. Yeah, NBA.
Yeah, so it started off, it was Locker Room, and then Locker Room got bought by or merged with Spotify. Spotify is a podcast platform, and Spotify sees themselves using this other platform as a way to have people do interviews. So a lot of people are going to use Green Room to conduct interviews and then use those interviews on their Spotify podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So Spotify saw this as an opportunity to get more people to do podcasts on their platform. So the people who are already on Foot Locker, they immediately came over with all their people,
And all their gems.
Yeah, and their gems. I don't think they had gems then, because that one guy was saying something about, like he saw how ridiculous all these, like her, there's just a message. Gems are about to become extinct. But this, like, I have this whole thing, gems. Oh, gems are about to become Mardi Gras beads. So yeah, it's just crazy. But I don't know. I still going to go over there every once in a while, and I'm not worrying about any gems. I mean, it's fun, but I just don't see how it's going to really matter to anything. But still going over there and seeing if I can create some sort of good night. See if I can create some sort of value over there, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I can't do it if I don't try.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, the rooms over there aren't anything like Clubhouse. The names of the rooms are just like stupid. So,
Oh my God.
and I have a lot of like different things that I liked, and I'm still not finding any rooms that have any value.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of coming across the same thing. I had some friends that were over there that had a room, and I couldn't even find them. All it was gems, 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 gems. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. Oh wait, green room. Let's see, green room support at spotify.com to request groups. They're not being created, but they're being considered. Dang, I'm going to do that right now. Well, it's not right now, but so it's green room if you want to create a club or over there, they call it groups. Let's see here. I'll put the link. Green room support at spotify.com. I just put it in the chat if you want that. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can create a group and see what happens. Again, I'd like to just try things. Going to walk the puppy. Ooh, have fun. Okay, so I'll see you ladies tomorrow night. I will be creating the room for tomorrow night, and then I'll make you guests in that room. Anything else before we head out?
We're good.
Stop the stinking thinking. And I'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Bye.